from. This is the Health and Wellness Spot. And of course, this is Dr. Lewis Muchile Obunde. And today I'm going to bring to you a very interesting topic. I know it might end up taking a lot of time today, but I hope you are prepared. Take your notebook, take your pen, and sit back and enjoy it because it's going to be amazing. So this is HIV and AIDS. What is HIV? What is AIDS? Are they the same? What are the treatments for this? We are going to talk about the life cycle of HIV because if you don't understand the life cycle, you will never understand how to handle HIV. We will also talk about medication for HIV, their mode of action, how do they function, where do they work on the life cycle of the HIV virus. We're also going to talk about the PEP and PrEP, the post-exposure prophylaxis and pre-exposure prophylaxis. And then I'm going to tell you about the misuse of PEP. Nowadays, you see everybody misusing this pill. So are people who are misusing this pill supposed to just go straight on ARV therapy or not? We are going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about the viral load and the misconceptions around the viral load. Does somebody who has a lower viral load, can they transmit HIV? Is somebody who is on medication for HIV able to transmit HIV? Why do we even take the antiretroviral therapy? So it's going to be interesting. Tag a friend, tell them to be here. It's our time to shine, okay? Put everything aside. I know our Muslim brothers have just performed the iftar, so it's time for you to join us and let's enjoy this. I'm also going to talk about drug resistance and defaulting. So if you default, what will be the punishment, or what will be the circumstances or the outcomes that will come as a result of you defaulting? Okay, so those are what we're going to talk about. So welcome aboard, sit back and enjoy it. Allow me to bring in my people from YouTube. Allow me to set up my YouTube studios for a minute, and then we go straight into this. Good. So again, this is a channel that brings healthcare to your doorstep. It's a channel that helps you bridge the gap between healthcare and the general public. So it breaks down difficult and complex health conditions, specifically chronic conditions, into a way that you can easily absorb and consume. Therefore, you need to be here. And thank you so much for 24,099 subscribers on YouTube. It is a pleasure to always serve you and make it interesting for all of you. Good. So again, if my sound is clear, as usual, kama desturi, simply wave so that I can know that I'm on the right track. And once we do that, we will be ready to go. Let's do this. I think through that we are ready. We can now start. Well done, my people on YouTube. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here. Let me say hi to all of you. As usual, Safi. Safi, don't think I've forgotten your story. I still have your story. So thank you so much for being the first person to be here. You're always here, my friend. Hey, this is interesting. Virginia Thomas, Ma'ahle. Nice to see you back, Ma'ahle. I also see Cosmas Cheruyot. I appreciate you, Cosmas. Thank you so much for being part of us. Catherine Mudoni, Mino Brand, Bango, Sandra Angela. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. Utikas, all the way from the United Kingdom, is present in the building. And then Birio Muriwe from Uganda, of course. Welcome aboard. Carol Njeri, Nuwagaba Amina, Mino Brian also, Anne Masharia, Samuel Gidaiga. Welcome aboard, sir. Lydia Muhongo is here. Kekeli Kafui, as always, in the building. Stephen Kimathi. I also see Agustin Odindo. Helen Bitok. Ooh, this is interesting. I see Vivian Benjamin. I see Peter Makumi. And I see Sarah Natongo. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for being supportive to us. Without you, we are not, we are actually nothing, because without you, you're actually supporting us in all ways that you can. You can support the live through the super chat. You can also seek consultations with us. Edith Gachuhi, I see you. You can also seek consultation with us through the contact that I'm going to put on board. For those of you who are outside the country, that is Kenya, you can use the code +254. So that is +254 7. For those who are in Kenya, it's 0707 07 again, then 4722. For those of you, so let me pin it here so that you can use that to seek for, you can use that to contact us for either online or physical consultations. Let me pin it there. Good. I'll also pin it on TikTok before we start this, because believe me, today I'm not in a hurry, because this will be an interesting one. It will be a long one, but I hope you're prepared for it. Good. That is my consultation contact. You can also do that. Again, you can as well be kind enough to support us through M-Pesa. We'll share our M-Pesa till number, so don't worry as the live goes on. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining in. It is always a pleasure to serve you. Now, today we're going to talk about the animal in the building, and this is HIV and AIDS. What is HIV? What is AIDS? What is the life cycle of HIV? What are the medications and their mode of actions for HIV? What is PEP? What is PrEP? Do you know the difference? And then for those of people who are used to misusing HIV agents, for example, the PEP has been highly misused. What are the consequences? And then what is a viral load? How does it affect therapy? We're also going to talk about the viral load and its spread and the misconceptions around the viral load. And then I'm going to talk about drug resistance. And then, of course, after we have understood everything, we will start to use the information that we just gained to question the same syllabus, as we do always. So that is what is going to happen today. Halima Hussein, welcome aboard, and Mohammed Mohamud Ocheng, I also see you. I'm glad that you're part of us tonight. So this is the point. HIV from definition, we will not go into definitions of the syllabus. We will simply tell you the meaning of the word HIV, that is human immunodeficiency virus. So from that word, it's just a virus. Okay, it's just a virus named human immunodeficiency. And the reason why it's named human immunodeficiency, the word is immunodeficiency. Immuno for immunity, deficiency for lowering. So basically it attacks your army that is supposed to protect you from diseases. So it kills your CD4 cells. It doesn't actually what it does, it gets into the CD4 and then uses the machinery or the mechanisms of the CD4 cells to make its own, to survive, to make its own DNA and its own proteins, and then to also multiply. So on its own, a question that has always been asked every single day, is HIV as a virus dangerous? Does it live? Is it a living thing? Are viruses living things, or are they not living things? And the reality is, viruses cannot survive on their own. They have to get into the cell, and once they are into the cell, they can now start to multiply using the cellular machinery or mechanisms to make their own. This is one reason why it's difficult to target viral conditions. Like, for example, all of us have a flu. It just subsides because your immunity is super. So, for you to control viral conditions, the first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that your immune system is super. And we'll talk about how to boost the immune system. And this will actually be helpful to our patients who are HIV positive, because we focus so much on talking about the medications and the drugs, but we fail to talk about the dietary modifications, the exercises, the sleep patterns, stress levels, to just make sure that your immunity is super high so that it can actually help you suppress the viral multiplication and therefore the viral load. Now remember this, the reason why people take antiretroviral drugs, ARVs, is because they first want to lower the viral multiplication. Remember, this virus is multiplying. So you want to lower the viral multiplication, and then your immunity takes over. This is where we forget. We think that the drugs will come and lower our viral multiplication, and that is it. And now we heal, or now we are good to go. No. The ideal situation is just like antibiotics work. They come in to lower the viral burden or the bacterial burden to a certain level that your immune system can take over. And this is what we need to talk about. We need to talk about how to boost this immunity so that it can actually take over without needing an assistance from medication all the time. Okay? So antibiotics lower bacterial load to a certain level and then immunity takes over. This is the same thing concept that is happening here. Antivirals and antiretrovirals actually suppress the viral level or the burden to a certain level so that your system can take over. Okay? Now, HIV is very tricky. Just like any other virus. On its own, no harm. But when it gets into the cell, gets contact with the cell, it actually gets into the white blood cells and uses the mechanisms of the white blood cells to make sure that it survives. Okay? So when that happens, it becomes difficult for you to target it because if it's inside your white blood cells, that means if you target the virus, you must target the cell, which will be your immune cells. So you'll have to clear your immune cells as a result of that. But I want you to understand this. We take HIV medication because number one, we want to lower the viral load, again, so that your immunity takes over. And number two, we want to lower this viral load to an extent, a very lower level, very lower, that we cannot detect it on a viral detection test. Misconception number one is already coming in here. When you go for that viral load test, and then you're told your viral load is undetectable, so it is below a certain level that cannot be detected in blood. That does not mean you will turn HIV negative. No. It means if you test for HIV, you still have the antigen of HIV in your system, in your blood. So you will still turn HIV positive. But your viral load is very low that it cannot be detected in blood and therefore you cannot spread. So number two reason why people take antiretroviral drugs is because they want to lower their viral load to a certain level that they cannot spread it. So we want to prevent the spread of HIV. Okay? So we reduce viral multiplication and viral load, and then we reduce the spread. And through that, we prevent total spreading of HIV and infecting and affecting other people. That is what we are supposed to do. So you don't take the antiretrovirals to get healing, because there is a study that is actually, I actually, when I was doing research on this, I read a certain study that was talking about the first drug that was discovered for HIV, and that drug is what we call AZT. Now, if you had an interaction with these medicines, you know they are labeled using codes, and those codes are basically the chemical names. So the chemical name is very long, but they use basically short forms. Like AZT is supposed to mean is a short form for the drug that is called zidovudine. That drug is being used until now. Now there was an interesting story about this, because this was the first drug to be used to manage or lower the viral load in HIV patients. And this was about 1964 or 1980s. No, 1964, it's when it was actually detected to have an antiviral activity. So this drug was actually being tested for anti-cancer activity. Underline that. So in 1964, it was tested for anti-cancer activity in mice, but it wasn't effective the way they wanted. The side effects were immense, so it didn't even qualify for the clinical trials. So they just tried it in mice, the preclinicals, and then now after that they put it on the shelves. And amazingly, when HIV was becoming a pandemic, just like COVID in the 80s, what they did is there was a company in UK. That company is the one that actually was at that moment in time producing antiviral drugs. So this company thought, hey, there is a drug that has been left on the shelves for quite some time. Why don't we use it and try out, possibly do some tests and some trials here and see if it can actually suppress this virus? Because when HIV was actually new, I'll put new in quotes, it was like COVID. People were so afraid. It was so advertised in the media. Everybody was afraid about it. And even though they say it only killed a few thousands of people, everybody was scared of this. The pictures that were being put in the media of people who are thin were actually tremendous. And people were just wondering, if I get this one, I'm gone. Is this me? If I'm tested positive for this. And remember that time, the tests were not even adequate to prove that this was actually HIV. So they went clear to this drug on the shelf that is called the zidovudine, and they took it and started clinical trials. Unfortunately, they did not finish the clinical trials because of the pressure that was coming from the people. Just the same way when you went into that supermarket during the COVID season, you did not find a hand sanitizer. Why? because there was pressure that was coming in from the public that they need more sanitizers, and everybody's in the supermarket with trolleys carrying all the sanitizers on the shelves because we were so scared. Now, that is the role of the media, to just sell you the fears, okay? So, on this one is a different story. At this moment in time, there was no media as such, but there was mainstream media, which was actually controlling most of the things. So now, this is what happened. So they took this drug, took it for clinical trials, but the pressure that was coming in as a result of the public and public health officials, they actually pushed the Food and Drug Administration of the United States to approve this drug after 20 months, of trials. Now remember, it had not attained the full trial period because at that moment in time, there was no so much advancement in technology, and drug approval was taking about 8 to 10 years to just approve one drug for one condition. But now comes this drug that has been on the shelves and is actually approved within 20 months, question marks. The COVID vaccine was approved within 8 months, question marks. The drug discovery process takes about 8 to 15 years for you to come out with a new drug and a new agent. So there is no way a drug can come out within 8 months and it is effective. Okay? So sink that in. That was the first drug, and apparently that drug is still in use up to now. It is actually part of the therapy that is supposed to prevent mother-to-child transmission. It's called zidovudin, AZT. So you can check it out. Okay? So that aside, let's talk about the HIV life cycle, because through talking about the life cycle, that's where we'll get to know where do these drugs target and what are the mode of actions of these drugs. So when we have the mode of action of these drugs, we will actually help pharmacy students here, we will actually help nursing students, the medical students who are on board, and even the laboratory students, laboratory technology students who are here to who carry out these tests. So you'll have a rough idea of this. Now on this paper, I have actually drawn something that is very important. Now this is actually a virus, the HIV virus for that matter, and I know most of you have interacted with this before. So this is the HIV virus, okay? Now I hope everybody is seeing this clearly. So let's take you through. So one, you should know that the outer covering, the one that is in red, that is an envelope. That's what we call the envelope, okay? So a virus is enclosed into an envelope. Remember that a virus is a non-living thing. So it's just a simple DNA, which is actually non-living, plus some few materials here and there, some enzymes here and there, and then is enclosed into a protein covering. And this is the envelope, which is basically a protein covering. And then inside it, we have things that look like coils. If you see those things that look like coils, that is what we call the mRNA or the DNA. This is the genetic material. And if you look closely, we have something else that is surrounding that material. It's called a capsid. Do not struggle to understand these things. Do not struggle to cram. Simply understand that this is a virus and it has mRNA inside, the viral RNA, and then it have two things. We have the blue stuff and the red stuff, those dots. Those two dots are actually enzymes. And we'll get to realize where these enzymes work as we continue with this live. So this is the reality. You see that's a virus, and on the surface of the virus, we have these things that look like spikes. These things that look like spikes are what we call they're actually called the glycoproteins. And what they do is they help the virus to attach to cells. So you realize that these are actually the receptors, what we call the receptors. So what do receptors do? Receptors help this virus to identify that this is the cell that I'm supposed to be attached to, and then we attach that cell, and then the process now begins. So understand this. For this virus to attach to that cell, that CD4 cell, the white blood cell, it must have these receptors. And these receptors, one of the most important receptors for these viruses is what we call the CCR5 receptor. Do not cram it. That receptor, I'm telling you about that CCR5 receptor because the first drug to prevent HIV, or the first drug to protect you from HIV, is actually going to block the virus from attaching to the cell by blocking that receptor called CCR5. So when this virus comes into contact with the cell, if you block the attachment of the cell to the virus will not enter into the cell. That is step number one. So as we talk about the life cycle of the virus, you realize that number one is binding and attachment. So the virus has to attach to the cell through these receptors, and one of those receptors is what we call the CCR5. I want you to understand that on CCR5 we have a drug that is called Maraviroc. So Maraviroc is a medicine that actually blocks the virus from attaching to the cell. So it blocks these receptors of the virus from attaching to the cell. Now that Maraviroc drug is coming from a company that we all know, it is called Pfizer. Okay, so Pfizer makes this one. And then after the virus has attached to the cell, now it's time for it to enter into the cell. So you attach, that is binding and attachment, and then now it has to enter into the cell. But before it enters into the cell, it has to fuse its envelope. So the envelope has to fuse with the cell membrane of these cells, the white blood cells. Okay, so this envelope now attaches and fuses with the white blood cells cell membrane, and that is what we call stage number 2, which is actually called the fusion. And on fusion, we also have a drug that blocks the virus from fusing with the cell membrane of the cells. Those are what we call the fusion inhibitors. Fusion inhibitors, they inhibit fusion. One of those drugs, and actually the most common one, is what we call the enfuvirtide. Don't struggle to understand them, don't struggle to cram them. Simply get the concept. We have to attach, we have to fuse, and then once we fuse, we have to enter the cell, because through fusion, the cell allows the virus inside. Now, as the virus comes inside the cell, it gets into the fluid that is around the organelles and stuff, okay? But the target of this virus is to get into the nucleus so that it gets to form, to use the DNA of the cell to form its own DNA and its protein at the end of the process. So, those two dots that you saw, one, this red one, is what we call the reverse transcriptase. When you hear the word S at the end, the word transcriptase, isomerase, ASE at the end, is basically an enzyme. So those two dots, remember I told you, are enzymes. So enzyme number 1 is reverse transcriptase. And the role of this enzyme is to actually help this virus to transcribe its mRNA to DNA. Now, transformation of mRNA to DNA is what we call transcription. And then DNA to the proteins is what we call translation. I'm taking you back to biology, basic biology. Or those of you who have gone to a medical school, I'm taking you to basic genetics. mRNA to DNA, that is transcription. DNA to proteins, that is translation. So now remember that enzyme is called reverse transcriptase. Okay? Reverse transcriptase. So actually, it is the one that activates the virus to transcribe its mRNA into DNA. We are on the process of making viral protein. So it is now inside the cell. Now its enzymes are being released. The virus releases that reverse transcriptase. It helps it to make its own DNA. Understand that, okay? That's the basic one. Now, this DNA will now fuse into the nucleus of the cell, your white blood cell. When it gets into the nucleus, remember in the nucleus is where you have the DNA of your white blood cell. Okay? So the reason why this enzyme is actually produced is to make sure that this virus forms the DNA that will help it get into the nucleus so that it gets to the DNA of your cells, the white blood cells. Take some glass of water and just relax on that one before we continue. Now, at this level, we have drugs that are called reverse transcriptase inhibitors. So their role is to inhibit reverse transcriptase, to just block that enzyme from actually making more viral DNA from the mRNA. So at this moment in time is where we have most of the drugs that you people know. Most of the drugs that are used for PEP, most of the drugs that are used for PrEP, most of the drugs that are combined to form that antiretroviral therapy are actually in this group. The reverse transcriptase inhibitors. They inhibit that viral enzyme called reverse transcriptase. Number 1 on the list is actually tenofovir. Very important first-line medication is called tenofovir. Now I'm going slow by slow because I'm telling you about the life cycle and again giving you drugs and where they work. So I'm also giving you the mode of action of these drugs. So we'll use that to question the same life cycle and the same medication. So be very keen. Okay? Be very keen. So number 2 drug on this is actually called efavirenz, a very normal drug for people who have HIV, another combination. We also have nevirapine, and I know if you've been here, If you've had a chance to read about HIV, you know the names that I'm mentioning. We also have the most common drug that is literally most, actually is considered safe even in children, is called lamivudine. It's actually also used in hepatitis. So if you've ever had a chance to get hepatitis, you will actually have tenofovir plus lamivudine. That is TDF stroke 3TC. Don't struggle to understand or cram that. And then we have the AZT. Remember the drug that we said was the #1 drug to be used in HIV in 1980? That is the Dovodine, the AZT, the one that is questionable, the one that there was no conclusive evidence that it suppresses viral load, but it still was approved by FDA. That one, Zidovudine. And then one drug that is present in your pre-exposure prophylaxis. When you want to prevent yourself from getting HIV, but you want to have sex with a partner who is HIV, this is for the concordant couples, okay? The concordant couples, the one that one is positive, the other one is negative. This drug is actually present in PrEP. It's called the emtricitabine. There are people who already have used PrEP before and they understand. They have read that. Emtricitabine. So most of the drugs for HIV are coming from this group. Because remember, we have to combine drugs. Again, they used to make one drug to target the virus, but they realized the virus mutates so fast. So now they had to target different places on the life cycle. And from the beginning, they have a drug. If you just realize, from the beginning of the cycle, they have a drug that blocks every place. But they have never found a medication to treat HIV, even though they have drugs that block the virus from getting in contact with the cell, that blocks the virus from fusing with the cell membrane, that blocks the virus from producing that reverse transcriptase that will actually help the virus to make the viral proteins and DNA. They even have a drug that will actually inhibit replication. Now remember, when this viral DNA now gets into the nucleus, it has to use the DNA of the cell to actually make its own DNA and make longer chains of DNA. That is what we call the replication stage, and that is stage number 4. Are you following? Yeah, discordant, sorry. I said concordant, sorry. This is Mino Brian. Thank you so much for that correction. It's discordant couples. Thank you so for that correction. I appreciate it. Good. So we have a drug that is supposed to prevent attachment, fusing, replication, and even assembly of the proteins. Now, after the virus has formed its proteins, the longer chain proteins in the nucleus, these proteins, the viral DNA and also the cell DNA, they have to actually be assembled together and then form a coat around them so that they actually become something that can get out of the cell and be dependent on itself. Now, this accumulation or this assembly is actually another stage, because once they assemble, they move near the cell membrane. And when they move near the cell membrane, they are preparing to get out of that cell. But remember, they have conquered this cell. So this cell is not active anymore. They have conquered it. Once they conquer that cell, they are good to go. Now they can leave the cell and go and invade other cells. Okay? So that is the assembly stage. And the weird part is, this other enzyme that we did not touch, the blue one, is one enzyme that actually prevents the assembly of this viral DNA and the genetic material that has been fused with your own. Now, that enzyme is called protease. So there is a drug that is called atazanavir, those that end with VIR. Atazanavir is actually one drug that is also used as PEP. So it's part of the regimen that is used as post-exposure prophylaxis. That is the PEP. Okay, so after you've had sex and you realize there's a chance that I could have contracted HIV, you run to the hospital and then you are given drugs that are supposed to prevent you from getting the HIV infection. The drugs that most of you are abusing, you keep on lying to hospitals that you had a condom bust. You just went to Naivasha to enjoy the rallies. You decided, now I have to have sex and unprotected sex. And then when you come back to hospital, you tell them, oh, I had a condom bust with a woman I don't know. It's a lie. Now you know very well that sometimes when you have sexual encounters with a woman, even if it's one woman, for multiple times, men, you know this and you can bear witness. Multiple times, if you have sex with one woman for several times, chances of you having protection on possibly the third time is zero. Zero. You start to trust them. Even in a single night, and specifically when you're drunk, you can have sex in a night maybe 3 times. The first time you wear a condom, even if you're sober, you will wear a condom perfectly. Chances of wearing condom from the second to the third time, very minimal. Why? Because you trust this person. If this person, I had sex with her with a condom, and they did not complain about the condom. They did not complain about the condom. Now we trust them, and you decide, kufa dereva, kufa makanga. Eh? And you ejaculation has to go. Yeah, like now I have to fully that through. You start to trust them. You don't know that one agent, one person with HIV can actually have a whole spread. Because assuming your girlfriend is someone else's girlfriend, eh? Let's assume that your girlfriend is someone else's girlfriend. Because of course she loves you, but you don't have the resources as much. So she's still building the hope, and you want to build wealth together. But there's somebody else who, of course, has already built the wealth, and he can provide, and possibly the shoes that you're wearing, the present for your birthday from her, are coming from from a gentleman who already made it. So you're struggling. This goes to the campus students. You want to have sex exclusively, but you cannot provide. If you make a woman pregnant, you're asking me in my inbox, Daktari, how can I get pills to, what is the safe way to abort this child? I'm like, hey bro, the safe way was before you had the sex. So if your girlfriend is someone else's girlfriend, those are 2 people already. Now remember, your girlfriend is his girlfriend, and you're here. You also have a side chick. Now these are 4 people who have a whole life around them. How many people can these 4 infect? Now most of you saw that lady on Instagram who just posted things there and everybody was growing rampant. Do you remember? My people on TikTok, you also know that lady who trended on TikTok, on Twitter, and on Instagram for just posting some funny stuff about HIV. And all of you, the whole country, came down. We got united. You know her? This is the same concept. So one woman can actually infect multiple men, even if she just has one man, and this one man has a side chick. It is a whole chain. So nobody is safe from HIV. At least by now we understand this. So before we start questioning the system, let's understand that one person is enough to change the entire generation with HIV. So nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. And believe me, when you do that HIV test, most of those tests actually reflect 3 months back. So for example, you go and take a test today. This is April. So it reflects back 3 months back. That is January. So imagine that. Because you have to do another test 3 months from now for you to get the results of your status now. So you have to do it now to see from January, are you safe? And then you do it after 3 months to see if actually in April it was true that you turned negative for HIV. And most people who spread HIV actually don't even know they have HIV. Those people who spread HIV don't even know they have HIV. How many ladies have we taken samples of blood from them? When we are actually doing blood donations, that's when they realize they have HIV. They are so surprised that actually their tests turned positive for HIV. They came to donate blood, for heaven's sake, so they did not know. And you know, if you're suspecting you're HIV positive, chances of you going to do that donation, very minimal. Very small. Very small. So some of you will go and do maybe just a general test, and that's when you're told, hey, by the way, did you know that this is the issue? You're actually giving the doctors or the caregivers a hard time to actually now start feeling bad. It's just to convince you that, hey, now you know you have to start taking drugs because here is the test. Or now you have to do a confirmatory test to just ascertain that you're now HIV positive. So be careful with who you are sleeping with. It's that simple. Just be careful with who you're sleeping with. We can never be safe out here. Okay? Use a condom at least. This goes to men who have started practicing semen retention. You've started practicing semen retention, and now you want to practice it with every woman out here. My friend, there is no gold medal for multiple sex partners. You can be sure of that. There's no gold medal. Okay? Good, so let's continue. So now we've known how these drugs work. Now, after they have assembled, they form a coat, and now they have to exit the cell to go and infect other cells. Now that is what we call budding. At that stage, we cannot have a drug because it's already late. So question number one, and every medical student, every doctor out here has this question, but they never ask it. But I'll ask it. Even you, I know you have that question, but you hardly ask it because you're afraid. So let me ask it for you, and let me ask it to you so that you can give me an answer. We have a drug that is going to block the virus from getting attached to the cell. Correct, Maraviroc. We have another drug that is going to block the fusion of this drug into the cell membrane of your white blood cell. It is called enfuvirtide. Great. We have a drug that is going to block the viral enzymes from actually converting viral mRNA to make viral DNA. There is a drug to block that. Actually, more drugs block that. Correct. Very perfect. We have a drug that will actually inhibit the assembly of these already formed proteins of the virus. Correct. The only drug that we don't have is the one that is supposed to block the virus, the assembled DNAs of the virus, from leaving this cell to go and infect other cells. Then now the question comes in, how is it possible that we don't treat HIV? How on earth is it hard to treat HIV? We are told we're just managing HIV and it will just improve our quality of life, add life to our years and add years to our life through these drugs, and you will take this drug for a lifetime. How is it possible that we know all these stages, we know all this life cycle, we have drugs targeting each stage of the life cycle, but we cannot treat HIV? Are we thinking? Are we thinking? Are we thinking? Now it's time to start understanding this. Now, like literally, when COVID came in, everybody forgot about HIV. Everybody forgot about HIV. All of us were worried about COVID. There was a time antiretroviral drugs were actually scarce. They were actually scarce. But at that moment in time, people were just focusing on COVID vaccines and stuff. Now, listen to this. When you have a hurting toe, so you hurt your toe, and then somebody slaps you, there is a chance you will forget that you have a hurting toe. You will focus on the pain that is coming with the slap. My friend, by the time you're going back to remember, I had a hurting toe, your face is swollen. Okay? So, question for another day. Once you have actually put this information in the media and the media has sold fear successfully, all of you forget your life completely. And this is the reason why you will see a murder case in the media this week. It will trend all over. They will sell the newspapers. They will sell the newspapers. And then a week or two down the line, when the cameras are off the courts, when the case has been postponed for about 6 months, all of you forget about it. And there is always something new. There is always fertilizer that is totally sand. There is always sugar that has mercury. There is always a drug baron that has been arrested somewhere. We just change your perception of things. We just change your attention from the main matter and distract you a little bit. When you face the other side, our matter still boils. We still have a chance to exploit you. That is how it is happening. Now, one day you'll remember those words. You will remember those words. The moment you stick on that television to think that your favorite politician is going to get an African post, chairperson of AU, the moment you sit on that television and think, my politician said this, you're being played, my friend. You are the fool. So stay sane from what you consume from the mainstream media. If at all the first drug for HIV, zidovudine, up to now, there is no substantive evidence that this drug treats HIV. There were no complete clinical trials. But on that drug, they just added another drug, then added another drug. Then now we have a regimen of 3 drugs that act on different stages of HIV on the life cycle, but we cannot eradicate that HIV. How dangerous is this HIV that even with drugs that stop its absorption into the cell, we cannot eradicate that HIV? How? Now, every white blood cell in your system has a lifespan, just like red blood cells. So these white blood cells, even if they have the HIV virus in them, at some point they'll be destroyed. They will die, they'll be destroyed because they have a lifespan. Now, how comes they still remain into the system with the HIV infection? Are they new cells? Did HIV give birth to new cells? When you start questioning that, you'll get in trouble. We continue. We continue. Let's continue. If you have your questions, keep asking them in the comment section. Somebody will answer your questions. Somebody will actually answer your questions. So don't worry. We are here for this. And until we finish it, until we understand the entire cycle, until we understand where these drugs work and how they do work, we are not stopping. So now you have a life cycle that has all the drugs. And then somebody comes in and tells you, these drugs are supposed to boost or to enhance your life so that you can live a normal life. But HIV is not reversible, right? And then you're given drugs for a lifetime every time you're taking these drugs, and then you will not die from HIV. You will die from opportunistic infections. By the way, did you know that? That people don't die from HIV. People die from opportunistic infections. So HIV comes and conquers your immune system, destroys your white blood cells, so your immune system goes down. Your ability or your army to fight diseases is actually conquered. And now any disease that comes in can attack you easily. There is no single place where antiretroviral drugs are combined with anything that is supposed to boost your immunity. However, when I keep telling you about how to boost your lifestyle, how to boost your immune system through fasting, through eating clean diets, through dropping those seed oils, through avoiding the fruits, the modern fruits which are just rich in sugar and the honey, through avoiding wheat, what do? You think I'm inviting you into a cult. You think I'm a Mackenzie. I'm the new Mackenzie in town. You call me that actually. And I tell you, well, maybe Mackenzie had an idea that you don't. This Mackenzie is one person who has an idea. I miss those days that I used to hate people who knew something that I didn't know. There were days that I was number one to comment on a post about somebody being very wrong about what they are sharing just because I didn't know about what they are sharing. Instead of me just taking time to go and read about it, I would actually tell them off immediately. No, you are wrong. No, you're just making noise. No, you're not a doctor. No, produce your papers. I was that guy. So therefore, I understand you anytime you bring your emotions on my timeline, thinking that you are actually making your point, thinking that you are attracting the attention that you deserve. You are just unable to fix the inadequacies in you. You're wondering, why am I not informed as this guy? Why can I not share this information and people listen? So you're actually jealous. You're of nature of evil. So you've allowed the devil to live in you without paying rent. It's time for you to let it go. It's time for you to let it go and start listening. It doesn't cost you a thing. This information is free. It's in the internet. It's everywhere. You can read it. You can challenge the system, but you don't want to. You will simply sit down, buy those bundles, wait for somebody to come and digest this to you, put it in your mouth, but you don't want to swallow because, of course, I have a problem with the throat. Let's continue. So for you to boost your immunity, concentrate on dietary modifications, lower your stress levels, eat healthy, the animal protein, enjoy them, red and white. Eat saturated fats and drop the seed oils, the vegetable oils. Run away from the guidelines. Run away from the guidelines. Run away from those people who chest themselves and tell you, research, peer-reviewed. Run away from those things. We have been following those guidelines for all this time. Have you recovered from diabetes? Have you recovered from arthritis? Have you recovered from HIV? I'm not saying that my views are supposed to substitute your doctor's advice. I'm not saying that my views are supposed to let you drop HIV drugs. Do not misquote me. Do not misquote me because you're quick. People from the media are always on my platforms. They are quick to make their statements to just sell the magazines, to sell the newspapers. They'll be very fast to do that. So simply take cold showers if you want to boost your immunity. Yes, you're taking that antiretroviral drug that you don't know if it will change your life, but at least you know there's one thing that is assured. Whether you're taking that drug or not taking that drug, you still have to boost your immunity. That one is a must. So if you take that drug and eat crappy food, the sugars, you will still die. And you will not die from HIV. You will even die from the side effects of HIV drugs. In conjunction with the opportunistic infections, the TB, the Kaposi sarcoma, which is actually a cancer, the pneumonia, very specific pneumonia for people who have low immunity, PCP, the meningitis. So those are just opportunistic infections. Even a common cold will take you out. Now listen, have you ever treated a common cold? Even if you take those cold caps, does it go away? It simply goes away for now. And then when there's a cold season, when immunity goes down, when a woman is menstruating or they are pregnant and the immunity seems to slow down a little bit, they will get a common cold. Why? Because viral diseases will not leave your cell. Because if it's there and then it's using your DNA to make its own, it's not going to leave your cells. The only thing you need to do is to suppress it by boosting your immunity. So if you're HIV positive and you're on medicines, well done, keep doing the drugs. But remember, whether you're doing those drugs or not, your immunity has to be boosted. Take cold showers, ease up on stress in your life. If that job is stressing you, please, you can do better. If you have a spouse that is stressing you, hey, you came alone, you will live alone. Okay? So ease on stress, because stress is very detrimental to your health and your immunity. Eat saturated fats, the animal fats, the ghee, the tallow, the coconut oil. Thank you so much, Kekeli, for the super chat. 10 pounds, my friend. Are these pounds or euros? I think they're euros. Are they? Yeah. Thank you so much, Kekeli. I appreciate that, man. That's a good support. You always support us. Thank you. So, start exercising. Go to the gyms. Drop those fruits. They can tell you that fruits will be healthy and kula matunda, piga zoezi, kimbia, fanya hii, fanya hii. They are telling you to eat fruits without telling you that fruits will cause you a fatty liver, and a fatty liver is actually detrimental to your immunity, because the liver is the one that produces immunoglobulins. Those are your immune cells. So if you have a fatty liver, you'll have problems. So drop the fruits and honey. Simply eat only avocados. Go on fasting. You need it. Every weekend, push a 48-hour fast. You will not grow thin. You're growing thin because you're not feeding your body with nutrients. You're eating crap. You're eating sugars. You're eating non-nutrient foods. You're just eating food to feel full. But you're not eating food to feed your system with the essential nutrients. Some of you, if I tell you to drop carbohydrates in your diet, I am done with you totally. You will ask me, so what should I eat? Because your plate is just carbohydrates. So if I get ugali, chapati, and rice out of your menu, you have nothing else. Those are the three things that you eat. In lunchtime, chapodondo. Evening, rice, beans. Morning, tea and bread. You're just a carbohydrate guy, my friend. You are a carbohydrate guy. When I just tell you, don't eat ugali, you start wondering, ugali again. I tell you, don't eat rice now. Don't eat chapati. Now you're left with nothing. So how many chapatis have you been eating all through? You're waiting for them to grow in your stomach? You're waiting for that rice to grow in your head so that you know it's enough. Pass is saying it's affordable. Yes, they're affordable because the food industry made them available to you, and there are plenty, there are varieties. So the food industry knows that you'll produce this excuse because they have the topmost scientists, the topmost psychologists. They understand you before you even think this way. So they know that you want cheaper and more available. They'll make them cheaper and more available, but useless, zero nutrients. Okay? So be very quick. So now, let me take you through something here. Questions that all of us have always had, but we never ask about this condition, this HIV and AIDS. So remember, AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. When you hear the word syndrome, just know it's a collection of diseases, okay? That's the syndrome. So any collection of diseases that will come as a result of HIV lowering your immunity, that is what we call the AIDS. Every condition that you suffer from just because your immunity is going down, that is what we call AIDS. So a syndrome is a collection of different conditions and diseases, okay? So these are the questions that most of us ask. Number one, somebody asked me, and I would like you to answer me if you have an idea. Why is it that mosquitoes cannot transmit HIV? Why? Why is it that mosquitoes cannot transmit HIV? Yet HIV is a virus. That virus is non-living. So when it's in blood, before it gets into the white blood cells, it can do nothing. So when a mosquito bites you and sucks that blood, which has the virus, and then bites somebody else, why is it that this cannot be transmitted through that bite? That is question number one. Question number two, the one that we've asked from the beginning of this live, that how is it possible that we cannot treat HIV when we have drugs that target every stage of the life cycle of HIV? Again, if you have an answer to that, please tell me. So somebody here is called Fleonoise is saying they cannot host the virus. Why can they host the virus? Why? Why can they host the virus? And I hope that you can come in and just share your insights when we start having those calls. So prepare yourself for a guest request. We can have that conversation, okay? Another one. Antiretroviral drugs in Africa are actually like a donation. They're like a donation. And they will say, before you donate something, you must be able to use it. Are you seeing where I'm headed to? Before you donate anything to me, you must be able to use it. That's the qualification of a donation. But most contraceptives and most antiretroviral drugs are not used in the West, and they tell you that there they have a different species of HIV. Okay? But they'll bring you all the tests and all the medication. And now this medication is supposed to just help you go through life. But it's a donation, but they don't use it. Why? On that donation part, there's that gentleman who came here and who actually wants to convert us to think that climate change is something so serious, and now we need to stop slaughtering animals and start focusing on eating meat that is made in the laboratory. So they extract some DNA from cattle or from animals, and then they go and get and type, and now they print meat. That is coming up front. They're going to print meat for us so that we don't slaughter animals, and they'll make it cheap and available, and we will consume it because we are cheap and available people. We want that. Whatever is cheap and available, we run for it. So that is the gentleman that is actually behind the donations of antiretroviral drugs. So again, I start to wonder, how can we trust that gentleman? Do you know that gentleman, by the way? Do you know him? How do we trust that gentleman when he's the same gentleman behind the COVID vaccines? How do we trust him? He's an American billionaire, of course. Thank you so much, Mary, for knowing that name. Thank you for answering that question. That is the gentleman. So how do we trust that gentleman when he's the one pushing the agenda of climate change, but he flies in private jets that produce a lot of emissions? He's the same gentleman that nowadays is obese. Have you seen that? He has a pot belly. He's the same gentleman that is telling us not to not to cut down trees to protect the environment, but he has shares in toothpaste companies that are actually making activated charcoal toothpastes. Where are they getting the activated charcoal from? He's the same gentleman involved in hormonal contraceptives. Did you know that? How can we trust that gentleman? How? Peter Makubi is saying the divorcee guy. Yes, the guy who was unable to... Hey guys, you can be mean, my friend. You guys can be mean. Hey, you can be mean. So you can imagine, nowadays, all of you, because I said you should use activated charcoal to brush your teeth, you're running to the supermarkets and buying commercial toothpaste that is actually black and written on activated charcoal, without asking the question, how possible is this product available here worldwide, actually? Yet, the same people who are pushing the agenda of not cutting trees are the same people who are producing this. They sit on boards of these companies that make these products. So in whose hands are we safe? You're taking that activated charcoal toothpaste, using it to brush teeth, but behind your mind, you're not even thinking that the same guys who are making these products told us we should not cut trees. So where do their companies get the ingredients to make activated charcoal. Where? Where? Anyway, that was another question. Next question. If viruses rely on our immunity, so that if a virus gets into your system, if your immunity is high, that virus cannot do anything because it will be suppressed. Why then do we need a medication for viruses that we know we cannot treat? Hello? What is happening to my YouTube? Have they come for it? Earth is hard, my friends. You can be here shouting and then you hear, hey, hey. Tomorrow, if you wake up and you don't find this channel, I hope you can use the information that I've shared for all these times to change your life for the better. I hope that if you wake up one morning and this channel is non-existent, these channels are blocked. You've seen them flagging down my TikTok videos. I hope if one day you wake up and these channels are gone, you can use the information. That's the reason why you should save these videos. That's the reason why you should share these lives. Because the more mean you become, the more you'll suffer anyway. They will do anything to just make sure that those people who are trying to speak are suppressed. So I want that mosquito conversation to continue, but I'll have it on TikTok. Good. So I have so many advocates on the ground. And let me use this chance to market my platforms. I have a Facebook platform that has 64,000 people. Imagine that. 64,000 people. What does that tell you? That is something that I know that most people don't know. Yeah? Take a chance on that Facebook page. Go read. Don't go there to comment. Go there and read the information that is there. Let it challenge you. Don't be offended by being challenged by somebody who knows something that you don't know. Just go there, read. If you can follow, follow. If you can't, no problem. But read and educate yourself. Facebook, Lewis Muchile. I also exist on Instagram as Lewis Muchile. My YouTube channel, if you've never been there, it's Health and Wellness Spot. We will drop a video every single day to make sure that you are reminded that anytime you walk in those supermarket shelves, trying to pick a seed oil, we are in your ears. Yeah? What is happening here again? Let's correct this one on TikTok before they change it. Good. Awesome. Awesome. Go to my Telegram channel. There are people there who know more than I know. They will help you. Use that to be part of your support system, to be part of your support group. My Telegram channel has people who are patient, who understand my language, who will help you. And that Telegram channel is called Health and Wellness Spot. Follow me on TikTok. 2 accounts. One is Dr. Lewis Muchile. The other one is Health and Wellness Spot, the one that we are doing a live on right now. So if you're not on those platforms, you are missing out on a lot. Go there, download those videos, save them, share them, let people watch them, like them, comment on them so that we go as a team. I mean, you cannot be all of us here enjoying this live. We cannot like that live. We cannot be that mean, right? Number 2, we cannot be here. We don't share it. We want to just get the information and move. This information is coming to you courtesy of freeness. Okay? So these are some of the opportunistic infections that will actually kill you when you have HIV infection, when your immunity is actually compromised. And HIV is not the only disease that can compromise your immune system. Cancer does the same. Cancer does the same. So as we talk about HIV and viruses, we cannot forget the major culprit on the ground, which is sugar and the cancer. So these are the opportunistic infections. And one of the opportunistic infections has to, of course, lupus is there. Thank you so much. And actually, before I even mention them, let's just mention them on the comment section to just make this interactive. Any opportunistic infection that you know, mention it in the comment section. I'll correct you. I'll help you understand it. And I'll make you know whatever is right and whatever is wrong in concern to this topic. Okay? So now, yes, TB is part of it. Thank you so much for that. TB is actually one of the worst. And TB affects every single part apart from the nails and the hair. TB is the reason why you walk into that hospital and that person who is, you can only see the head, the skull. That is actually TB. Anemia is there because, but anemia is not an infection, okay? Anemia is not an infection. Candida is there. Perfect, because meningitis is there. Actually, the fungal meningitis, to be specific. Kaposi sarcoma. Yes, Kaposi sarcoma is a type of cancer. Herpes zoster is there. Yes. So TB is one of the most dangerous diseases in people who have HIV. Angela Mudhoni, Kaposi sarcoma. Yes. Kaswende iko. Kaswende iko. What is Kaswende? Is syphilis, right? You know, I can say that, and then those people, I can actually talk about the Kaswende, and then those people from that media house that was trending for Kaswende, they come for me now. Like, hey, yeah, we sue you for trying to actually yeah, demean the name of our platform. So, so even a common cold can be an opportunistic infection. Corona is part of that, yes, but now Corona is a recent one. We don't even know if it was there from. Okay, yes. So recurrent candidiasis is there. The yeast infection all the time. The oral thrush. And these people are always on drugs to prevent them from getting infections. Yes, boils are there because boils are actually a skin condition because of low immunity. So when you get that infection getting into your skin through a crack, you get that. So literally, most of the diseases that we suffer from, that we can easily handle by just a strong immunity, are actually going to sweep away people who have HIV. Okay, they will sweep you off if you have HIV. So it's high time you start. Pneumocystis caronae pneumonia, the PCP, part of it. A very specific pneumonia for people who have low immunity. For the cancer people and HIV people, very common. And if you've ever had an experience with somebody who has Kaposi sarcoma, the skin cancer, my friend, that thing smells. Where? Hey, nurses are very patient people. Nurses are very patient people. Safi is saying tonsillitis. So tonsillitis comes in as a result of that pneumonia. So when you swell, tonsillitis is basically just an inflammation of the tonsils. So when you see your tonsils swelling and becoming painful, they are telling you there's a problem with your upper respiratory tract. So listen to this. Your child is having recurrent tonsillitis and you end up taking them to a doctor for chopping off the tonsils. You chop off the tonsils, but you're not changing the diet of this child. Actually, those tonsils are actually helping your child to fight these infections. So you're actually killing that child slowly. And then now you have to sanitize every surface they touch because you are at that product mom. That product mom. I don't want to mention it again. So let's continue. So what you just mentioned is, so you see people know it. Toxoplasmosis is part of it again. Yes, that's correct. Nax Vegas. Nax Vegas, a very good city. When I was back, those days when I was still doing my undergraduate in Egerton. Where, my friend? So yeah, so boosting your immunity, fasting is very key. Okay, underline that. So those are the questions that we've been asking ourselves all the time, and I want you to be very patient with this live because we will bring in some people to just talk about this conversation about these questions. I'll actually ask this question on that same. So when you come in, you request to be a guest, just know I'll ask you these questions about if you're actually thinking about these questions in the same direction that I do. So how do we prevent HIV? Now, before I even go to prevention, let me say this. Parents, how close are you to your children? If you're a parent here, how close are you to your children? Do you have a friendship with your children? What do you think is your role to your children? Are you a mother who is totally in career and you don't care about these children? Are you a father who is totally chasing money and you're forgetting that that money without a family background or a family basis is a waste of your time? Are you forgetting your health is very important even without the money? How close are you to your children? I'm saying this because I'm so saddened by things that are happening. Now, you saw the other day that young ladies and young men who went to Naivasha for the rally were actually misusing and abusing the after pill, that is the hormonal contraceptive, of course, the emergency pill, and they were abusing PEP. So I saw that nowadays condoms are actually rotting in hospitals. Everybody's afraid to just purchase a condom. But you're quick to run to the comprehensive care center and tell them, I had a sexual experience with somebody that I don't trust, and I'm thinking I might contract HIV. In this generation, your daughters are afraid of a pregnancy than they are afraid of HIV. Your sons are afraid of making a woman pregnant than they are afraid of these sexually transmitted diseases. Your sons and daughters were busy in Naivasha having unprotected sex with people they don't even know because of alcohol. Your sons and daughters, the mainstream media has actually made them sick, and they're getting mentors from online. You've taken your daughter or your son to campus. The only degree they will come back with is a whole load of medication for syphilis, for gonorrhea, for HIV, and for all these weird conditions. And now you start wondering what is happening. It's because I think parents are losing it. Parents are losing it. Now I'm talking this from a deeper perspective, and I'm thinking that this is more of a spiritual battle than it is a physical battle. You can easily see that there is a hospital that is advertising abortion on radio. Do you know that hospital? There's a hospital that advertises abortion on radio. Our sons and daughters, actually our daughters, are swallowing emergency pills every weekend and every after 3 days, like groundnuts. They don't have mentors. Thank you so much, Mama D. That is the hospital that I'm talking about. There is a hospital in Kenya that advertises abortion on radio. And your daughter is so afraid of getting pregnant, so she would rather put that hormonal contraceptive on her arm or that injection to just get involved in unprotected sex. Your son prefers not to wear a condom or not to sit in class and study, but to have an orgy. So that money that you're sending for rent is actually being used to rent some form of apartments that are being used as sex dens. And guess what? Because we made sure that we will provide them with pre-exposure prophylaxis medication, and we will provide them with post-exposure prophylaxis medication, so they don't have to fear anymore. Gone are the days that a billboard that had somebody who has suffered HIV and is just bony scared us. Gone are the days that people used to fear the word HIV. Now the positive side is there is no more stigma. It's going down, and if there is any stigma, it's actually coming from healthcare professionals. They're the ones who are spreading that stigma. I have told you, and I'll repeat it, that those people who spread HIV don't even know they have it. Those people who go and test for HIV and they turn negative, and the next minute, actually nowadays, your sons are just testing a woman now, and the next minute they're having sex with that woman. She turned negative anyway, so I have to have sex with her, okay? She's safe. Now it's time for me to fuliza her without any protection. And they will go ahead and defend it by saying they have latex allergy. They will tell you they have latex allergy. Ladies will tell you that condoms hurt them, that they will dry up if they use a condom. Both genders will tell you that you cannot eat a sweet in a pepper. You cannot enjoy sweets when they are wrapped up in a pepper. You need it flesh to flesh, and that makes the bond stronger. That makes the sex more interesting. My friends, if you did not see what happened in Naivasha, that people are avoiding to buy condoms, but going to hospitals after the event to take PEP. And right now, as we speak, so many of the youths are taking PEP medication every other time. It's even becoming a norm. And I'm even wondering, why don't they just enroll on ARV therapy? Because the same PEP is actually ARV therapy, only that is for 28 days. So you just take PEP, you finish it, you go to a test after a month, you're negative, you're having another woman. You actually pray to God that, God, if I survive this one, I am not going to mess again. God, this is the last one. You are praying like a pregnant woman, a woman who just got pregnant without even expecting, or rather, a woman who just missed their period. You're praying so hard that, God, this one is my last one. If you save me from this one, I will never have sex with another person without protection. So, of course, the sex is still part of the equation, but now you're telling God, please, I just want to enjoy it, but make me at least remember that they have to wear a condom. Please, talk to your children. Your children are getting mentors from online. You failed or you stopped being their mentor, so they are getting mentors from social media. That's why they rather load a whole Subaru, sit in the back bench having all this sex, and head to those events. And as they are doing that, they're even carrying the drugs already. They're actually foreseeing a problem, so they carry the drugs already. So it's time for you to start talking to your children. It's time for you to start talking to your children. If you ignore this message, you will see. Some of you are wondering why your daughter comes back home or your son comes back home. You are a church elder and your children are telling you, now you know I have to marry my same sex. They are basically gay. You're wondering, I have been leading the prayer sessions. I am this prayer warrior, but the only thing that God would have granted me is a straight son or a straight daughter. And this is what I'm answering for, because you stopped being a mentor. You don't have conversations. Nowadays, on that dinner table, everybody's on their phones. Everybody's on their phones. Nowadays, parents quarrel in front of their children. There is no order. Nowadays, men stopped providing exclusively, and now children know there is no order, there is no chain of command in the family. And now they're admiring other couples online, failing to understand that that is a fake life. They're living a fake life, but they are adapting that. They want to be like them. They don't want to be like you. They don't. And now they are swallowing P2s every weekend. They are swallowing pep after pep after pep after pep. But you're not aware. You're busy looking for money. You're busy shouting. Anytime they're at home, you're shouting at their ears. They are busy aborting. If you have 5 children by the age of 35, your daughter has had 6 children, but there's no evidence. You cannot see those. This is not a laughing matter, by the way. Your daughter has had 6 abortions by the age of 21. You just don't know. So to me, this is becoming more of a spiritual battle than it is a physical battle. It's time for you to teach your daughters ethics and manners. It's time for you to have conversation with your daughters. We understand that things are changing, the world is changing, but it's time for you to take time with your children. It's time for you to take time with your children. You cannot come at home and you're actually leading. You're the one who is actually starting the conversations on phone. You're scrolling, you're chatting on WhatsApp. People are eating. you're actually chatting until food is cold. And then you start telling me, Daktari, you know this oil, this tallow solidified on my plate. Now you're blaming me for your food solidifying, the fat, animal fat solidifying on your plate. Daktari, you know hii mafuta inakauka sana kwa sahani. It will clog my arteries. But you're busy chatting. You did not even take time to enjoy that meal. Your son is texting somebody, your daughter is texting somebody, the father is over there doing some stuff on a computer, you're there texting somebody on phone. Please, where did we lose that family bond? That when it's time to eat, we sit down and eat. Did phones separate us from reality? Did the media separate us from reality? How bad have we fallen? How bad have we fallen? We are losing a generation slow, but very perfectly. And now we are normalizing all this nonsense. We are normalizing it. You imagine a whole hospital advertising abortion on radio. Right now, you don't need to ask for any abortion center. You only need to get pregnant. They got you covered. Tertiary institutions are becoming a serious mess. They are becoming a serious mess, and one day we shall be vindicated. We shall be vindicated. When I was growing up, even trying to sit in a certain position when you're eating, my friend, even trying to just sit in a different position while eating. Thank God we did not have phones as such. So phones were not that much. But nowadays, phones are a serious problem. Those youths who are masturbating, even nowadays, adults are busy masturbating. A whole man cannot shake your hand while he's looking straight into your eyes. No confidence, very low self-esteem. You're wondering where we are getting all this depression from. You're wondering where we're getting all these issues coming from, and you're thinking that there's no problem. I mean, life, they are adapting to the new technologies. Believe me, our traditional men were more technological than we are. Possibly we're just practicing what they did, but in an advanced way. Your mother was not on phone. She raised you. Your father was the ultimate provider. He raised you. Please, raise your children. Don't let us on the media raise your children for you. And believe me, most parents come into my inbox and they tell me, Daktari, I would like you to be a mentor to my son. I would like you to tell my son the truth about life. Daktari, you've changed my family's life, and every time we are doing a live, my family is seated there listening to you. And I would like you to change my son for the better. Please take over and educate my son and make sure that my son emulates you. And then deep within, yes, I would like to help you, but I'm asking myself, where did you go to? Like, why are you not part of that equation? Because your son or your daughter is supposed to get mentorship from you as number one. Before they even think about me, who is just shouting online every other time, they should think about you. That when your son is having a problem, the first person he's thinking to talk to is the father. When your daughter is having a problem, the first time she's thinking to talk to is the mother. But look at our inboxes, your daughters and your sons, busy asking for help for things that can actually be solved by you. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to the drawing board, please. I think I just end this live there. Let's just end it there. But before we end it, let's go back to normal. I want people from my TikTok account to request to be in HIV. So how do you prevent yourself from getting HIV? Of course, the obvious ones that you've always heard about. Number one is protect yourself during sex. Protect yourself during sex. Wear a condom. Now, when I'm talking about sex, I'm talking about a man and a woman encounter, because that is what I grew up knowing, that is sex. But I'll not exclude the same-sex relationships. I'll not exclude the anal sex. And nowadays, why are people so interested in anal sex? My friends, ladies, if your man ever asks you for anal sex, start questioning that man. Let the exit remain as such. If a man asks you for anal sex, my friends, start questioning if you're actually having a man or a male. Hapo katikati. So, for oral sex, for vaginal sex, please. And why do people do oral sex nowadays, though? If you've never suffered herpes, you're lucky if you're having oral sex all the time. Sex was designed for the vagina and the penis. Let it remain as such. Tuache hivyo. Wacha tusiende maneno mingi tuanze kuleta shida. Number 2, protect yourself if you are using drugs that need injectables. Those people who abuse drugs, the heroines, and you want to inject yourself, it's time for you to start taking cautions. Do not share those needles. Do not share those needles. Number 3, protect yourself by taking pre-exposure prophylaxis. This is for those couples who one is HIV positive, the other one is HIV negative. The rest, we cannot encourage inappropriate behavior that you need to take PrEP so that you can just go have sex aimlessly. Take PrEP when necessary. If you are a couple and one is HIV positive, the other one is negative, simply prevent yourself by taking the pre-exposure prophylaxis. Number 4, protect others if you have HIV. On this note, protect others if you have HIV. On this note, when you are diagnosed with HIV as a new person, as a new client of the HIV system, number 1 thing is you will always be in denial. And you will become so bitter with the system. You'll become so bitter with everybody you've had sex with because you're thinking they were the problem. You are the better person. You're just offering sex, right? But they messed you up. No, you had some responsibility to play in this. So therefore, the more you resist, the more you get frustrated. Accept your position. The earlier you accept it, the easier it will become for you. Start fixing what you have to fix. Fix your immunity by eating the saturated fats, by fasting, by eating animal proteins, the fatty proteins, by eating vegetables, by eating avocados as your only fruits, by dropping the inflammatory foods, the seed oils, the wheat products, the sugars, by exercising. Go to the gym at least 3 times a week. You need it. Enjoy the sun, lower stress, sleep. Those are things that will actually boost your immunity. So that is what you have control over at that moment in time. You don't have any control over the virus in your body. You have control over your immunity that will help you suppress the virus. Think. It's not to complain. It's not time to become bitter. Most of the people who have been diagnosed with HIV, and what they're thinking that now it's time to teach the public. Now it's time for me to spread it to you guys. You have made me HIV positive. I did not expect this, but I had sex, and unprotected sex for that matter. But I did not deserve this, so I have to spread it. Shock on you. There is something called viral burden or viral load. And the more you have sex with multiple people thinking that you are spreading it to them, you're actually affecting your system generally. You're going to have a higher viral burden, so chances of you going very fast are super high. You're going to have a chance of drug resistance because the more you get new viral strains from other people, the more you suffer the consequences. So as you think you're killing them, you're killing yourself. So stop becoming bitter because bitterness is actually the nature of evil. You have again allowed the devil to live in you rent-free. Release the devil. If you are of nature of God, you cannot hurt people. I am not here to preach. I'm telling you the truth. You will think you're hurting them, but you'll be hurting yourself because you'll be raising your viral load. You might end up acquiring a different strain that cannot respond to medication. So stop being bitter. Stop thinking that you're going to spread it to them. You're going to punish them. You're not punishing anybody. You're punishing yourself. Stay sane from media. Mainstream media, stay sane from it. It will actually distract you. Simply do what you can do at that moment in time and move. Number 5, if you're a HIV positive mother, protect your child. That's an innocent child, protect them. By heading to a CCC center, go do those A and C tests when you're going for your maternal, your checkups, your clinics. Go do them, get the screenings. If you're positive, you'll be put on a regimen that will actually help you protect your child. Do it. As you eat healthy too, so that you prevent yourself from getting the complications. Then hospitals, kindly screen thoroughly those organs for transplant, that blood transfusion, screen it. Some of you are very desperate and you just want to just clear and forward. Screen those things. And by the way, did you know it is illegal to actually spread HIV intentionally to people, to innocent people? It is illegal, so you'll suffer the consequences of the law. Okay? So stop spreading HIV. So those are ways to prevent yourself. So number 1, we said protect yourself during sex, wear a condom. Number 2, protect yourself if you are an injectable drug abuser. Those people who use drugs, change the injections, do not share it. Number 3, protect yourself by taking pre-exposure prophylaxis if at all your couple is HIV positive and you're HIV negative. Number 4, we said protect others if you have HIV. And how do you protect others if you have HIV? Simply start the regimen of antiretroviral therapy. Start fixing your immunity by eating healthy and exercising, the way we just mentioned it. Okay? And then stop being bitter. So don't try and spread it just because you're bitter. You will suffer the consequences. Number 5, if you are a HIV positive mother, make sure that it's known so that you will protect the unborn child. And above all, hospitals, please screen those organs, screen that blood before you transfuse. That is how you prevent yourself from getting HIV, and that's how you prevent yourself from actually spreading it and even getting worse. And you protect others also. As you protect yourself, you protect others. So if you did not get anything from this live, simply get these highlights. Number 1, don't be bitter when you turn positive for HIV. Fix what you can, and that is your immunity. Okay? Number 2, those who spread HIV actually don't know they have HIV. Because somebody who has taken medication, there's a way your viral load goes down to an undetectable level. At that moment in time, you cannot spread HIV to other people, even if you have sex without protection. And that is what we want. That is why most people take antiretroviral drugs, because they want to lower immunity, your viral load to a certain level that it cannot be detected, and then your immune system takes over. That is what we are targeting. Number 3, testing actually reflects 3 months back. So if you test now, that result is actually telling you your state 3 months back. So therefore, you need another test 3 months in front to know your current state. So make testing a priority to you. Anybody you want to have sex with, make sure they are tested, make sure they are clean. And again, do it frequently. Okay? Number 4, never abuse the PEP. PEP is actually a HIV regimen. It's an antiretroviral therapy regimen. So if you're abusing PEP, you're actually being on antiretroviral therapy. You're actually taking HIV drugs. And that means you're actually somebody who is part of that generation. So do not abuse PEP. PEP was not designed to make you just behave irresponsibly sexually. No. PEP was designed to protect you if at all you messed once. The more you use it, the more your chances of getting resistance to that drug. So protect those drugs so that they can protect you. Okay? And then, what else? Do some blood donations oftenly, because the reason why I'm saying this is because there was a time most people, actually in this generation, most people are actually turning positive on blood donations. And I'm wondering why. But these people came in without knowing they're HIV positive. So they went ahead and did the donation, and then they realized, when the tests come out, they are positive for HIV. Now they are in denial because they did not expect that. Okay? When you get those pants off that lady, when you get your boxers down as a man, simply know there's a chance that you can contract HIV if you don't wear a condom. Condomize. Let me go to the conversations, and then we call it a night. Maybe 2-3 people, and then we call it a night. Okay? Good. Allow me to thank you so much for that that gift. Let me take in somebody here. This is Ngobiro Kenneth. Ngobiro Kenneth. Hello, gentlemen. Ngobiro. Hey, Ngobiro, you are in... Where are you, sir? You are surprised that I took you in. So let's answer those few questions about HIV. Saf is saying simply abstain. Yes, it's easy to abstain than to start using all this medication. My friend, at this moment in time, we have more than 41 drugs for HIV. More than 41 drugs for HIV, but we don't have a cure. Eish. Eish. No cure with 41 drugs. Is it the same case with diabetes? All these drugs and all this research and the guidelines, but no cure. Tawe.
Hello.
Hello, sir. What is your name?
Zaratozira.
Okay.
Actually, can you explain? I heard you.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Dear, please, can you just explain for me? I heard you said you must just think and take your medication, and there's something like sleepless. You must just rest or something like that. Can you explain for me again? Because I didn't hear you exactly.
No, I didn't say sleepless. I said if you have the HIV virus and you're on medication, medication alone cannot change your life. You need to boost your immunity, because the reason why you take medication is because you want to lower the viral load to a certain level that your immunity can handle, can take over and suppress it even more. Again, when you boost your immunity, you can easily suppress the side effects that are coming with the antiretroviral drugs. So as you take those medications to lower the viral multiplication, simply boost your immunity. And how do you boost your immunity? Number one is a cold shower. Enjoy cold showers. Number two is enjoy the sun. You need it for immunity. Number three is exercise. At least 3 days of a gym session every week. Number four is sleep. At least 6 to 8 hours a night. Enjoy your sleep. Make it deep so that you can actually rest and recover. Number five is you have to eat healthy foods. So drop the sugar, drop the seed oils, and drop the wheat products and all ultra processed foods. Simply eat whole foods, the complex carbohydrates, eat animal proteins, all of them red and white, and make them fatty. Simply eat all types of vegetables, make them organic. Eat all types of spices, because spices are nature's herbs to us. Enjoy them non-selectively, make them organic. That is how you boost your immunity. And once you boost that immunity, you will suppress the virus, because the virus is actually depending on how strong your immunity is. So if your immunity is strong, you suppress the virus. If your immunity is weak, even the drugs, the side effects of those drugs will clear you out. And when you boost your immunity, you prevent yourself from getting opportunistic infections like TB, like Kaposi sarcoma, like pneumonia, like candidiasis, like meningitis. And once you do that, like herpes, once you protect yourself from these diseases, you will be able to survive without worrying about HIV. Have you understood it?
Yes, yes,
Good.
yes. Let me ask you the last question. Actually, I'm not taking any medication.
Okay.
But the problem is one. Always when the season comes change, I've got infection of the tonsils. I don't know what is wrong. There's something that I eat, but I try to find out, but there's nothing.
Are you on my
I don't know
YouTube
what
channel?
is happening. Your YouTube channel?
Are you on my YouTube channel? Are you part of the members of my YouTube channel?
No.
Please go to
No,
YouTube.
Doc.
Go to YouTube and find the channel that is called Health and Wellness Sport. And then simply search a video that is called tonsillitis. You will understand tonsillitis, because these are live for HIV and not for tonsillitis. Unless you're having tonsillitis as a result of issues with pneumonia that is coming as an opportunistic infection to HIV.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. So please, there's my YouTube channel is a library. All these conditions that you're asking me are there. Simply go there and enjoy the content there. On to the next one. I'm going to handle so I'm going to go to Kathy, then I'll go to Winnie, then Anne, and then I'll finish with Jahim Evans. Yes, hello.
Hello, Doctor. Are you good?
I'm good, Mickey. How are you?
I'm fine. Hope you can hear me. Whenever I am, it's raining.
Yeah, I can hear you. Welcome on board. You're live.
Okay. Uh, few things about HIV. Like the question about mosquitoes. We also had it when you were in school. Like we did HIV just a small unit.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody wanted to pass because the drugs had the big terms like the Zidovdin or whatever those names were. I cannot even remember them.
Yeah.
So amongst us, not with our lecturer though, amongst us we were asking ourselves, why is it that mosquito does not transmit HIV? And one of us said that it's because when the mosquito sucks someone's blood, the blood is digested.
Okay.
And the virus dies. That's why it will not get to the next.
That's a good idea, but the virus is not alive. The virus is a dead microorganism until it gets into the cells. So why does it die in the stomach of a mosquito, but it doesn't die in the system of a human being when we have the strongest immunity more than the mosquitoes? So our immune system is unable to recognize the virus as a foreign agent. So it lets the virus survive until it gets into the cells. That is one question that we cannot even answer. And number two, when the mosquito is sucking the virus on its own is actually dead. It cannot do anything. So how then does it die in the stomach of a mosquito?
That one I don't know.
Thank you.
Because that is that question will never come into exams. Why would we bother ourselves? So we stopped there.
Yeah, most of us study for the exam. Once the exam is done, even if I ask you what was question number 1, you can't remember. You are like question
Yes.
one. Was there question 1? Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. No. Okay. At some point, the viral load goes down, right?
Yes.
Of course, that is because of the drugs did their work, right?
Because of immunity.
Not the drugs.
You've had a cold before, right? A viral cold. Sheshiko na homa.
Mara mingi.
Yeah, rhinitis is actually a virus, so viral condition. Most common colds are viral, right? Do you think you've healed completely from homa?
Yeah.
Oh, so you'll never catch a cold anymore?
I'll get it at some point when I'm careless.
Where will it come from?
Maybe immunity lowers a bit.
Hey, I rest my case. Next question.
Okay, that is about the viral load.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody believes it's the drugs, right? They believe it's the drug because this is a test that they take time to time when they go to clinic, right?
Do you think they believe or they've been made to believe?
They've been meant to believe.
Okay, continue.
So at that point, since now the drug was doing so good and the viral load is down, like it's lower than it was, does it mean that the drugs stops the good work they were doing and that's why the virus does not clear completely, or what happens?
Man, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. That is the best question to ask on this platform, my friend. Exactly. Why did I see it that way though? Like, the virus has been suppressed to a level that is low and is how then is it possible that these drugs do not kill the virus? If at all they are effective and they're working in the first place, they actually work to bring the viral load to a level that your immunity can take over. So then, do they stop because your immunity has taken over, yet you still take the same drugs? Good and fabulous question. Hey, my friend, thank you for that
The
question.
problem is that I don't know the answer.
No,
Do you know the answer?
you don't have to know the answer. We don't have to know the answer. We need those questions because you see, we're actually challenging the same symptoms that we went through. Like, how is it possible that the drugs can bring a viral load to a certain level that is lower, but they cannot clear the virus? So what were they doing so that virus does not spread? Of course, they inhibited multiplication of the virus, and then they brought your viral load lower. So how is it possible that they cannot clear the virus? That is a question
Yes,
for
the question is, do they stop? Does the drug stop functioning?
Yeah.
Is it some resistance or what is it?
But you're still taking the same drug, right?
Yeah.
This is a question to ask that gentleman who brings us those donations. I think we can do that on X. Man, thank you for that. I'll actually do another live on HIV and I'll talk about deeper stuff about HIV. And by that time, I'll have that answer. I can assure you, because I'll ask it and I'll still actually provoke conversation so that we can get those answers. So I'll make sure that I have that answer for you.
And on comment section, someone asked this question.
Yeah.
I cannot say it in their own words, but the point was, why is HIV a different virus from the others? Why is it so a big deal?
Yeah, because they say HIV uses your cell. It has a way that retrovirus, that not retrovirus, that reverse transcriptase. That's an enzyme that makes it unique. Of course, unique. Okay. So that enzyme is the difference, because that enzyme actually makes it assimilate itself into your nucleus, and then it starts using your DNA, your cellular DNA, to actually make its own protein. So that's what makes it unique, in quotes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then about the parenthood, the marriage stuff, manze. Hapa ni kama unapigia mbuzi ngita.
My friend, I had them on that guy. Let me tell you, that gentleman. They're actually marketing that product in the morning. Do you know, in the morning somebody is seated on that traffic jam and is listening to those two gentlemen faithfully. And then these gentlemen are the ones who are marketing that hospital just because they want to make revenue for that radio station. I was so upset. But again, we move.
Do you know, I've just thought about it right now. If you just took a couple, then you close them somewhere in a room, then you don't take TVs there, no phones, no TVs, nothing electronic. Like, no one is sleepy. Do you know, they just look at themselves and no one is saying anything. They have nothing to talk about.
People are bored with each other. And I think we just have to, yani, tunavumiliana tu, lazima tu tuishi kwa sababu tuko hapa, we are here, where do we go to? But I think
these things keep moving because of the phones. These phones are the ones that keep people alive. Like, we just find life is fun.
But
they are not there.
But your mother had fun without a phone. So how do you explain it?
That was then. This life is like different somehow. I don't know why.
That is the point, because you think that this generation is a special one. You're not any special. You can't think what is the difference between you and your mother? The internet and the phone?
Maybe that is the only difference.
They're even better than us because they used to walk and exercise. They never had this condition that you have all the time. Now your phone, you're actually living on that phone, trying to compete with other people, trying to live other people's life. You're not living your own life. So they actually live their own life. You are not. Yeah, so they are better off. So you're not better off than them. They used to give birth naturally and they enjoyed it. Nowadays, you want to go through a blade and still record a video for us because you have a phone. Yeah, they kept their relationships private.
You just.
They kept their relationships private.
You
Yours
see
is always on public. So we even know you more than you know yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You see the stories chini ya maji, like kwa ground, and the small experiences we have in marriages. If you listen to some of us, you'll be shocked.
One day we'll hold a live about marriages and you'll tell us about that. So we can have that conversation then. For now, let's talk about HIV. Have a good night, Mickey.
Okay, good night.
All right. One day we'll hold a spiritual conversation, possibly a Sunday or a marital conversation, and then we see, because I know most women are just they're struggling. Most men are actually struggling to stay with that woman. They're wondering, huyu alifikaje hapa? Ay, 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 ay. When you start struggling that way, that marriage is over. Iliisha before ianze. Yeah, so 2 more calls from Winnie and from Anne, and then we call it a night. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you guys, and as usual, it makes sense.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, how are you, Winnie?
I'm good.
I'm also good.
First of all, thank you so much for having these enlightening conversations. I'm really enjoying and really learning.
I appreciate.
So, kindly, I would like you to enlighten me on the chronic allergies,
Okay.
especially the allergies that comes from blues, whereby one just starts sneezing, gets stuffy nose, and it triggers, you sneeze so much in such a way you end up getting severe headaches. Then one tries to use antihistamines and it doesn't work. You have to go for injections, now become a dependent. You're always on medications, and it becomes a chronic situation or a struggle. Can you enlighten me on that?
Are you going through that struggle, or are you asking that question for your friend?
Actually, it's me myself. I'm asking myself.
What is your current body weight?
Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Now listen to me keenly. Whether you like it or not, you will have to change your diet. What is your cooking oil?
The seed oils.
Okay, thank you very much. What is your, do you eat wheat products?
No, that one, no, I don't.
So you don't eat cakes, you don't eat spaghetti, you don't eat biscuits, you don't eat all of that?
No, actually, no, I'm not. I've not even been raised with such things.
Good. Do you take milk?
No, I literally hate milk.
Okay. Do you eat sugar?
Moderately, yeah, I do sugar.
What is your favorite fruit?
Maybe I do avocados and some bananas.
How many meals do you do in a day?
Well, 2, 3, 2, but most of the time 2.
But most of the time you're snacking.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Anyway, those foods are supposed to be dropped. The foods I just mentioned. So drop them and see what happens to you. Okay?
Yeah.
Start by that. I'm dropping this because I wanted you to focus on HIV before I talk about anything, because I want to stick to the topic as much as I can. Allergies are basically what I've talked about. Go to YouTube and see a video that I'm talking about fixing the gut. Go fix the gut. The last person has to be Anne. So we finish this up. Anne, kindly, as you come in, stick to the topic. Let's not talk about allergies. Let's not talk about asthma. Let's not talk about pregnancy, hypertension on a live that is supposed to be talked about HIV only. Yes, Anne Rono.
Hi, Doc.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Finish this up for us.
Yes, so I wanted to basically, let me thank you for the content you're creating. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate.
So my biggest issue is like you have handled everybody else, the dating generation, the young,
Yeah.
our children.
Yeah.
I think you have gotten a big part of this generation, which is the married generation.
Yes.
In the current, what do you call it? Like in the community right now,
Yeah.
there's this nature that is going on of side chicks and bentens.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people who are having partners in marriage and they're having unprotected sex.
Yes.
And some may be faithful and some may be unfaithful.
Yes.
So how do they prevent themselves from getting the HIV AIDS?
And I appreciate that question.
Because I think the women are the most affected.
Yeah.
Because I think the side chick thing is becoming too much. Like the Naivasha story,
Yeah.
we saw people being like, "We're in your man's car."
Mm.
So what do the women do? You're there in marriage, taking care of your children, but the men are out there, they're not faithful, they go, they come back. What if you get the HIV infection? What do you do?
I appreciate.
The society
Yeah.
expects you to have the children, to have unprotected sex, but what do? You'll get the AIDS. What do you do now?
And I appreciate that question a lot because that's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
This is the point, huh?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 36% of married women are cheating as compared to 24% of married men. So you can imagine already who is cheating more than the other. Okay, so don't put the blame directly on the men because the women are more, they are the ones who actually are cheating more than the men because they get bored in marriages. So women get bored, like literally. Now, number two, I am not oblivious of the fact that men are actually the ones who are sponsoring these young girls and paying the bills and taking them out so that they can just get a new exposure and a new experience with the vibrant girls and stuff. And that's the reason why most of the men are the ones who are dying in these lodgings on overdose of those drugs that are supposed to stimulate them. So leadership is supposed to start from home and it's supposed to start with the father and then to the woman and to the children. So men, of course, they have lost it. And that's why I say 70% of the population now is just males and not men because men know their roles, they know their duty, and men are not focused on sex and ejaculation. Men are focused on fixing deals, men are focused on making money and providing, protecting exclusively without providing excuses. No man in the right senses can spend all that money to a trip to Naivasha to go and spoil another lady when they have a family. It doesn't make sense at all. That is somebody who has failed to appreciate the fact that they can have sex without ejaculating, so they are ejaculating aimlessly. They have also failed to understand they don't know God. They know about God, but they don't know God. And remember, marriage is an institution that is ordained by God. But most of you get into a marriage without even knowing God. Of course, you know about God because you've heard about Him from preachers, from the Bible, you've read about it, so you are relying on your own intellectual. But intellectual ability is ungodly, is actually the nature of evil. God gives you common sense, and if you have common sense, how would you even take a woman a smaller, like an age of your daughter to Naivasha to just have sex and fun, and yet you have a woman at home? It means you're just losing it. And then this is the point. The point is, at this moment in time, it is very hard to fix men. Yeah. Males. We have a lot of males out here. And you see, these are the same. Sasa unaona, like if the man goes and leaves the son behind and is leaving the son with, like, let's say you as the woman. Now, this son does not have a role model. So he's an absent father. And now when he comes back, of course, there's a way you've put some emotions in this son, and you're raising this son. And by the way, you know very well that women cannot raise sons. You know very well. We need fathers to raise these sons. Now, the point is, when these fathers are absent, we start raising emotional boys, and these are the same boys who will want to punish ladies. Unaona vijana venye ana grow, anafika mahali amepata kazi. Akipata kazi, he wants to punish all the ladies that said no to him when he was still broke. This is the same concept that people are carrying into marriages. So you just want to have sex aimlessly. Now, this is not even a physical battle. It's actually a spiritual battle, and it has to be won by a spiritual aspect. That means men have to know God. And how will men know God? They have to forgive people. And how will they forgive people? They have to face people. But these same men are unable to even forgive their mothers. They are unable. But remember, their mothers are the ones that put some emotions in them and they didn't raise them adequately because of the absent fathers. So it's something that just ilitoka tu koji ikikuja mpaka saa hizi. So like for you, you should focus on teaching your son forgiveness. You should focus on actually strengthening the relationship between the son. Do you have sons?
Yes, I do.
You should focus on actually creating a relationship between the sons and their fathers. But you see now, you can try as much as possible to do that as a woman, but the father is absent. That becomes a serious problem to the sons. So they'll have to find mentors. And apparently they have to join a masculine maybe group so that they can be taught some things. Take your sons to booty camps so that they can be shown some things. Take them to attach them to some mentors who totally have a straightforward life, and you can easily pick out, because as a woman you have an instinct to pick out something that is very somebody who has an ambition, somebody who has a sense of direction. So if the father has failed to take that role, then it's only easier that you find a mentor for that son, because if you try to raise that son on your own, it shall be messy. So simply teach your son how to find God by forgiving. I don't know if you can teach your man about that, because it will be chaos. So it's just time for you to find. Do you know God, or do you know about God?
No, I know God.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, tell me about it. Do you get angry?
I know how to handle my emotions.
No, do you get angry?
I can say maybe once in a while.
Do you get angry?
Yes, I do.
Good. Because you see, the reason why I'm insisting is because the more you resist it, the more you become. So don't resist it. If you get angry, you do get angry. But did you know that anger is the nature of evil? Did you know that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because a heart that has God cannot get angry, because God is love. And when you have a heart that has love, it cannot harbor emotions such as anger. Do you know that?
Yes.
So do you think you can know God and still sin?
No.
Yeah. So now, do you know God, or do you know about God?
I know about God.
Thank you very much. Now you see, it's time for you to know God, because you see, most of you don't have an identity. Most of us get married or get into relationships without having an identity. We have identities from our parents, we have identities from our exes, we have identities from our bosses who hurt us, and now, because anybody who can easily hurt you or who can make you angry, basically you have their identity, because they can easily control you. And somebody who can control you means you've accepted their identity. So we have multiple identities and we don't have ours. When you have your own identity, God will use that to reveal things to you, and he will make you he will free you from the anger and the emotions. So he gets the anger out of you and fills you with love so that you can know how to love your children. But before you know God, when you just know about God, it is hard for you to know what is right for you, because you don't have an identity. I also want you to know this. For you to get your identity, you need to forgive the first person who gave you your identity, the false identity. And apparently that is your mother, because the mother is the one who gives you the first thought, who puts the thoughts in you, who puts the identity in you. And most of the times women act emotionally, so they tend to impose their identity on their children. Okay? And once they do that, these children grow up without an identity. And guess what? They end up attracting people who have fake identities just like them, because whoever you are, you attract. Okay? And now the weird part is, we don't like having fake identities. And since all of us have identities from our mothers, we are always running away from our mothers. But remember, whatever you resist persists. Whatever you keep running away from becomes. So as you run away from your mother, you get to attract a man who is exactly like your mother. Cannot provide exclusively, so you end up sharing bills. Cannot protect you because he's feminine. And then he's super emotional and chaotic. So women do not like men who are super emotional and who are chaotic. They want a man who is decisive, and a man who can take a stand and then lead from the front. But now you've attracted a man who is totally having or harboring the characters of your mother. Why? Because inside you, you have the nature of your mother, and then you ended up attracting from within. So from within, you attract without. So you ended up attracting a man who is totally your mother. So this is a feminine man. That's a lesbian relationship. And that becomes a serious problem to raising the children, because love has to flow from God to the man, from the man to the woman, and woman to the children. So if the man does not know God, of course the woman will not know about God. And you see, the man is your husband and the man is your father. So for you to know God and now avoid this, if your man did not know God, you simply go and forgive your mother, and then you go and tell your father, hey, it's time that you give me my own identity. You just tell your father, hey, I realize I've been resenting you for no good reason, and I would like you to forgive me for that. Simple. And now your father will not forgive you because human beings cannot forgive. It's God who forgives. So God will forgive you and he will load you with the identity. But you have to show God that you need that forgiveness. Okay? So by telling your mother, hey, I don't want to resent you anymore and I want you to forgive me for resenting you, and telling the same words to your father, that means you're going back to the father. Once you go back to the father, now you have your own identity. When you get your own identity, God uses that identity to reveal things to you. Once he reveals things to you, you will know how to raise your children. Therefore, you will raise sons who know God, not who know about God. And once the son knows God, instead of knowing about God, he's godly, he becomes masculine, he will attract women who are feminine, and he will end up becoming that man that you've always wanted him to be. But you see, if you've not fixed yourself, you cannot fix your son.
That is very true.
Okay? So since the man, you see, if that man is absent, let's say a man is always on trips, always out with other women, that is none of your business. He is an adult, you cannot fix him, okay? But just know it started with you. You attracted who you are from within. So this person that you attracted is a force that was you actually portrayed. So you got attracted, or he got attracted to you because you portrayed an energy that is in the same wavelength with him. So it's time for you to change that. And once you do that, you will realize he start telling you things like, "I may change." Okay, once he starts saying that, now you start realizing, oh, okay. So now we are doing the right thing. But you will never know the right thing if you have the nature of evil. So simply forgive your mother. So this is what you can do, okay? And you can tell this to most women in your space who know about God but don't know God. So simply tell them, hey, go face your mother, which is very difficult, and tell her, hey, mom, I appreciate that you raised me into this bold and motherly daughter that I am right now. But it's high time that I forgive you because I realized deep within I've been resenting you for no good reason. So I want you to forgive me for resenting you for no good reason. Remember, you're not telling her that you're forgiving her. You are telling her you want her to forgive you for resenting her. So you're boosting her ego. You're playing reverse psychology. And now the reason why you're doing that is not because you want forgiveness from her. No, you want identity from her. So God will keep her out of your path and give you your own identity. And then once you're done with your mother, you go back to your father and tell your father, hey, if he's still alive, you tell him, hey, it's time for me to let you go because you've been, I realize I've been resenting you for no good reason and I want you to forgive me. Your father will forgive you. Once that happens, perfect peace. And you see, even if they don't forgive you, like they don't tell you I forgive you or whatever they say, is none of your business. What you're doing is you're getting the obstacles off the way so that God uses you to get an identity and then uses that identity to reveal things to you, because God does not speak or talk to people. His voice is a voiceless voice. So what he does is he gives you an identity, and when you have your own identity, he uses that identity to reveal to you what you're supposed to do, and that's what you follow.
Okay, I understand that.
Yes.
I actually didn't think I had a problem with my mother. I always thought I had a problem with my father, and that is why I attracted the person, that energy.
Yes. Do you know what?
But
Every time.
yes.
Just continue.
The main issue for me is how do you protect the HIV and AIDS, which is being generated in the existing marriages, and the children who are being born with the HIV/AIDS within the marriages?
Well, you see, you're oblivious of the fact that this is a spiritual thing. Is nothing to do with the physical.
Okay.
The HIV is basically the physical. How about the spiritual aspect? Because listen,
Okay.
whether you like it or not, these things are happening and you cannot change that.
Yeah.
You are not Jesus, you cannot change the man. If he's a messed up man, it's none of your role to change him. You cannot protect you or the child that is coming in as a result of having sex with a man who just went out and had sex with somebody who had HIV from outside. So there are things that you can handle, and that's why you need God. Because when you get God, you will know how to evade some things. And listen to this, Kinley. You cannot just wake up one day and tell your husband, hey, now I cannot have sex with you without protection because you went to this side, they have found out that you were messing out with another woman, and that. Some women do it. They tell their men that these are the boundaries. Until I'm sure that you're safe, we cannot have sex without protection. But you see, when that happens, it means we lost the battle from the leader. And who is the leader in a marriage?
The man.
Exactly the point. So you see, you're trying to fix what a man is supposed to fix. When you're saying, I need to protect these children, I need to protect myself, protection is not your role. Protection is a role of a man, right?
Right.
So if he's a man who knows God, he wouldn't do that. But since they are doing it because they don't know God, that's the reason why I'm telling you, from here, it's already messed up. So you need to fix you. Because you're not Jesus to save people. Here is messed up and you cannot change that unless they find out on themselves that they need to forgive their mothers and their fathers and then have that perfect relationship with God and get their own identities. Until they do that, they will keep on doing the wrong things because they don't know what's right. Okay? But you,
I get you.
yeah, they don't know what is right.
Yeah.
So even if you try to fix them, you cannot fix an adult until they know.
That's true.
The only thing you can do is to advise them to fix what they have to fix to know God. But you see, most men are unable to face their mothers and tell their mothers, hey, you have been resenting you for no good reason. Most men cannot face their mothers and tell them that. They will actually kick you out instead of telling their mothers the truth.
It's true.
Okay, and you know very well a woman has that inbuilt thing to control something, and apparently in their life as they age, the only thing that they can control is the man. But if they're unable to control this man, they will use the children to control the man. So sometimes, and most of the times actually, women act emotionally, so they start turning children against their fathers. Now listen to this: the father is absent, right? When the father is absent,
Yes.
you are tempted to do most chores that he's supposed to do, right? When you're tempted to do most things that he's supposed to do, including provision, look at you protecting your children, which is his role. So you're supposed to protect your children and you're supposed to show them leadership because the main figure is absent. So what happens? Sometimes you get emotional because of that anger that you've allowed to lead the new and the emotions. You get angry and you get to tell your sons or your daughters things that are actually against what is supposed to be said. For example, your daughter can see you paying school fees at some point or paying some bills here and there, right? And then you tell them, hey, I've been struggling with you. Simuona baba yenu hajakuwa, alikuwa Naivasha. Simuona baba yenu anashinda kila mahali, mimi ndo nang'ang'ana na nyinyi. You say these things innocently because you want to protect these children, which is not your role. But they cannot handle it because you're the mother. So they are afraid of you because actually, wow, Pia, they don't know God. And fear is the nature of evil. So they are afraid of you. So when you say this, they follow it. Now, that is a form of turning the children against the father. And the earthly representation of a child, the godly representation of a child on earth is the father, the biological father, right?
Yes.
So when you say something to this son, they get to pull out away from their father. And now they are pulling away from God. So they'll have to go back to get their identity because now they are running away from whoever is supposed to show them how to grow up to be a man. They turn against him. They will have to go back because if they keep on turning against him, they will keep on attracting people who are emotional, who are crazy. There's the reason why there's so much divorce right now is because we are attracting who we are, but we don't want to take responsibility. It's only unfortunate that you're already in a marriage and yet this person up here, the leader, is totally absent. So it's unfortunate, but it's not late. You can fix you. Because even if we like it or not, we cannot change these men from not going to these trips with these women. We can't. Now listen, men are actually making women survive out here. And the same thing is happening with women. Women are making males survive in schools. Women are paying bills for these boys. And men are paying bills for these girls. So it's there. We cannot change it. Look at how politicians are behaving, having sex in the toilets in the parliament. With ladies that we even don't know. We see it on social media. And this lady is ranting on the social medias, if you know that lady. But the reality is we cannot change these things. We can't. Right now we can't because it's a spiritual battle. And until you get to a spiritual level to understand where it went wrong, you cannot fix it.
Well understood.
Are you getting me clearly?
I got you now.
Yeah, so stop fixing what you can't fix. Simply focus on fixing you. Once you fix you, you get your own identity. Once you get your own identity, you will use that because God will use that to reveal to you what you can do right. And again, remember, even if the man is supposed to protect you, God can protect you even more than the man.
That's true.
Yeah, so until that time you get your own identity, it will always be chaos. You will always be thinking that he's the one who is cheating. I've played the right role as a woman. But you see, you're the one who attracted that gentleman.
That is very true.
Yes, nobody imposed that guy on you. You attracted him because of the nature of the energy that you're portraying from inside. So from inside, you didn't have an identity. Therefore, you ended up attracting a man or a male who did not have an identity. And that's why it went south. Now it's time for you to fix yourself, and then you'll start attracting energy that is positive. And through you, they might end up thinking, hey, mtu amefanya nini tofauti, because she's glowing, because she's different, because she understands things differently, because she's no more, she doesn't have anger anymore, there's a lot of peace at home. Now through that he'll start thinking, oh, okay, there's something she's doing. And now at that time you can hit him below the belt by telling him, hey, it's time for us to know God. Have you ever forgiven this? And if he becomes defensive, let him be. If he buys your idea, safe marriage, because marriage is ordained by God. It's an institution that is ordained by God. So therefore, we need to get into that institution when we know God. Unfortunately, we are getting into it for the wrong reasons. If your man is going out with a younger lady, that basically means he got attracted to you because of the sex. He got married to you because he thought there will be availability of sex. And now he realizes, oh, it's hard to have sex with one woman for a lifetime. Now I have to find it outside. So he's actually compensating for his internal inadequacies by trying to seek an external validation, which is wrong. So until he fixes his inside, he will never fix the external. So don't struggle to fix his external. Struggle to fix your internal, and you end up attracting a positive generation and vibration for yourself. Because you came alone, you will live alone.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Are you satisfied with my answer?
Very satisfied.
Good.
I understand you well.
Good. Thank you so much and have a good night.
You too, thank you.
You're welcome. Good. Hey, I feel like a preacher right now. Hallelujah, brethren. We call it a night. Thank you so much for being here for the last 2 hours and 10 minutes. This has been the longest live ever. So I appreciate all of you for being here. This is Pastor, aka Dr. Lewis Muchile Obunde from the Health and Wellness Spot. Simply remember, my role is to make sure that I fix your spiritual and then the physical follows. Also remember that I am here to bridge the gap between healthcare and the general public. And again, I am under an oath, and that oath is supposed to actually protect you. So every information that I share on these platforms is for the best interest of you and me too. So thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. We'll see you again on Monday. Have a good weekend, and I hope you're fasting. Take care of yourselves, and God bless you.